So what I won't do is before we actually start teaching today. I had this. I don't know why. I should have done this before. Gary was saying, "Man, you should do more Christmas songs prior to Christmas, and you're doing all of this after the fact." So I did the Carol of the Bells, which I play for you guys, and we did Sleigh Ride, and we did the Christmas song, and now I just did this awesome piece of music that was written by Mark Lowry back in 1991. So a few years back, called "Mary Did You Know?" And when you read the lyrics, it's amazing. He must have been gifted by someone because you can't write lyrics like that. Incredible, and the song is awesome. So I'm gonna play it before we get going here, just to let you enjoy this beautiful piece of music called "Mary Did You Know?" And here we go. I think the overhead is there. We go, Gary. Thank you. Wow, beautiful. Well, hope you liked it. Hope it sounded okay. So the registration, it goes back to all our classes of how important it is to understand the keyboard not necessarily play really well, but understand how you get to things. And I always say it's easy, but it's easy when you know how. And we've had this conversation plenty of times. So we'll retouch on some of the things that we talked about, and then I'm gonna leave out the performance assist technology for today. I'm trying to find a different way because what a lot of people are used to is to be able to use that feature while you're playing. And the technology that Yamaha has is based on a song performance where you can add on things without knowing what you're doing. And they call it PAT technology, performance assist technology. So today we're going to leave that aside instead of going into it. And I'm trying to create a different way that you could do it live instead of having to record a song first and then use that technology. So Gary, we can put the screen up. Gary's after the meeting. Gary and I are gonna get together and finish the Carol of the Bells and the Christmas song, and then we'll have that available for those who are part of the Zoom lessons on Monday. So you'll be able to go to that folder and grab the presets, grab the scores, and so on and so forth. So I'm gonna touch on something that's very important in understanding the Yamaha GENOS 2 keyboard. And there's so many things, and what I love about this keyboard, you have the ability to do anything you want, anything at all. So if we can do the overhead along with also, there we go. And then when I get talking, probably the overhead be better that I can see, and then we can just go back between that. If it's too complicated, Gary, you can just leave it on the overhead. Because right now, if I try to push something, it's hard for you to see it.
Okay.
But on the overhead, we have an overhead view of the keyboard, and then you, of course, see in the screen at all times. So that's what I'm looking at when I'm working on the keyboard. So let's talk about one of the most important parts of the GENOS technology, which is very unique. So all the styles have a mixing capability, and we'll go very slow so you can understand what's happening here. So, like for example, in the style that I'm using is called movie ballad, and you see that because it's in orange, and that orange banner represents the style that I'm picking. And if I put my hand on movie ballad, then the screen opens to all kinds of things I can have. So, for example, I can have a Broadway production of a Broadway ballad. So I push the Broadway ballad, and now I'm in that rhythm. And then, of course, at the bottom of the screen, you have pages. And this happens to be the category called movie and shows on the left side of the screen. If I'm watching Latin and jazz, you see that? So movie and shows starting on page 1, and each page has 10 representations of that type of music. And what happens, a lot of you may discard it by the name of this thing, action anthem. And you're like, well, I don't feel like playing any anthems. You have to try it, each one. They're all very, very well done. Music, theater, ballad, all of these are beautiful. So let's go back to Broadway ballad, okay? And then I exit that window. Now, if you have the Fletcher Music Edition at the bottom of the screen, right about the center over there's a button that says Mixer. If you don't happen to have yours set up that way, then you'll have to go through the menu button. So the menu is the set of white buttons on the right of the keyboard, the second row. The top one, it says menu. And if you're on menu number 1, you probably can figure out how important Mixer is. It's the first choice on the left side of the screen. And then when I push it, you should be on style. The top row, you can change what you're messing with. Panel are the sounds on the upper that you have selected. If you see it right, left, and right, they're in green, they're being played. And then the style, this was just the same way when I created the organ for Fletcher Music. So all of those are what the style is playing. You have rhythm 1 and 2, and I'll turn all the lights so you can see what's happening. By turning the lights off, they're not playing. By turning the lights on, they will play. So if I now choose, I just play a chord, you're going to hear all those people play in the background like this. I'm just playing chords, and you see all those people are playing. There's something really unique about the keyboard. If you pick an instrument where the green is, and you just hold it for 3 seconds, it'll solo just that instrument. So instead of having to turn all the lights off, I'll show you what the way that I used to do it. I don't want anybody to play except the piano. That's complicated. You got to turn all these lights on and off. So leave everything on, and then just hold the piano, and it turns into purple. That means that when you play now, you're only going to hear the piano part. And if you want to just deactivate it, you push it again, and it turns green. So let me hear what the piano's playing, because a lot of you are not talented enough to hear just the piano. Here's the background. There's some horns, and there's some trombones, a guitar. So if I just touch the piano, it turns pink, and look what happens now. I only get the piano. That's really amazing. If I push it again, now it joins, everybody else joins. So we call that the solo mode. If I want to see what the guitar is playing, I can just make the guitar purple, and then we just listen to the guitar. Yeah. If I want to hear what the horns are doing, I just hold the horns. They turn purple, horns. And when everything's together, now everybody's playing their part, and they're all different. So you can either highlight what you want to hear, and then underneath, you see to the left side, you have all these little tabs. If I go to volume, underneath the piano, you have a slider that we can move up and down and change the volume of the piano. The same with the guitar, and the same with the drums, or the bass, and the brass. So right now at this part of the game, you can customize. If the piano's too loud, you can bring it less or more, whatever you like. So this is an awesome, awesome window. And then for now, let's stick to only 2 items. Soloing each one of the instruments by pushing it and holding it. It turns purple, so now just the piano's going to play. And we can change the volume less or more. If I just do it again, everybody joins in. Second tab we're going to talk about today is the chorus reverb. And it should be Revelation Large Hall. So if yours doesn't say that, you're going to push your hand on the Revelation Large icon, and then on the top right corner, when you push it, you'll get a list of different types. This is the greatest technology Yamaha has ever introduced to their keyboard, and it's called Revelation Large Hall. And once you select it and hit close, it becomes automatic from now on. You don't have to worry about it. And I'll show you what happens when you're on the reverb mode. Right underneath on the piano, there's a dial, and it's set to 46. So if I make it 0, I have no reverb. So let's listen to the piano with no reverb. See how dry it is? And my stop point is between 50, anything higher than 50. Be careful you don't go to 100. It's too much. With 65, 70, that's all good. And it makes the piano a lot nicer sounding. Listen to it now. It's got a nice reverb to it. So I only want you to mess around this time only with the volume, how much of it you want, and the reverb, how much of the reverb. Now you could do it once you highlight it. There's a wheel you can see on the right of the keyboard, and that wheel makes it more. If I turn to the right, it gets larger, and if I go to the left, it gets less. So my default, if you look at my presets, all of them that I do, they're all over 50 on reverb on all of them. And then the volume is personal. You choose whatever you like. And remember that the trick today is learning how to solo each instrument. Let me see what the bass is playing. So I just highlight the bass. It turns purple, and when I play a chord, I only get the bass player. Too loud. So highlight it, make it less. There we go. Now, that being said, if you only wanted bass and piano, then that's when the lights will come off. No styles. No rhythm, so I turn the green lights off. No guitar, no strings, no brass, no trombones. So I only have bass and piano now when I play. Listen. That is absolutely incredibly facilitates a lot of you, and you don't have to be good at it. You can just experiment and see which one you like. So this is an incredible tool for us to make the background just the way we like it. I'm going to give you a little teaser for next week. We're not going to talk about this today, but if you notice, God, stupid cable. If you notice that the pictures of instruments are also demonstrated on the screen. So instead of touching the light on top, instead of touching this green pad, if I push the picture of the sound, then the Yamaha gives me, I get to put in there whatever I want, and not only pianos. I can go to electric piano and change that. I can put strings in there. I can put choirs in there. I can put acoustic guitars in there. Right now, Yamaha's using the Concert Grand. Or if I wanted to do a different piano, I could just do the ambient Grand. And now, the picture on the chord number 2 is ambient piano. So you have full control at all times. And this is part of the fun. You shouldn't be upset with, oh, I don't want to do all this. You don't have to. But if you start to tweak things, you're going to get incredible backgrounds that you're making from scratch. So if you notice, if I go to Mary Did You Know, I'll go back to pull the presets. I hit the plus and minus next to the presets, and I hit Mary Did You Know, and I put my preset number 2, which is the one that has a style. The style that I'm using is called Natural Guitar Ballad, and when I push it, there it is, Natural Guitar Ballad. So now let's go to Mixer, and look, when I play, the only thing that's actually playing, I turn off. Phrase 2 is at 0. Phrase 1 is at 0. You see the slider? If I put them all the way up and I call up my preset. So the only thing that's playing right now is guitar number 1. And you can see it because it lights up when it plays. Watch. See how phrase 1 is turning into a light? But since I have no volume, I'm not hearing it. I'm just hearing guitar 1. I can make it less. And here's why I didn't want guitar phrase 1. Listen to how ugly. Really ugly compared to this beautiful guitar. So now, since I'm talking about that background can be played any song that I want. I can play Yesterday with that. Listen. I'm telling you, we are so fortunate to have technology like this available to us. Now, fortunately, when I make the presets, I take care of all of that. But this mixer thing, for right now, I want you to experiment with the volume settings and then the reverb. Look at my reverbs at 75. Big room. I want it to be nice and full and beautiful, and I want it to be dried. And I'm always using Revelation, large haul, always. Once you pick it once, it'll remember until the cows come home, so you're good. And I have it at 75. If I go to 0, the guitar's not that pretty. Listen. You know, when I hit stop, all dried. Now let's make it 75 or even 100. Listen. It's amazing. Unbelievable tech. Wow. So, mixer, those two items for now. Let's do mention on the harmony, because a lot of you think that organs have harmonies. Organs have no harmonies compared to this product. And remember, there's a beautiful button here called direct access. I mean, if you push the direct access first, anything you push now, it'll take you to that subject. So if I now hit direct access, in the window it says operating a button or a controller would jump to the relevant display on the respective control. It all sounds complicated. It sounds like real fancy English. Touching panel reset calls up the function to reset various settings of the instrument without rebooting. So I'm going to follow the first operation. Operating a button or a controller jumps to the relevant display of the respective control. So if I now hit harmony, boom, there on the left side, I put it to harmony, and there are 4 pages of different types of harmony. Standard duet 2, and you can just move your bar if you want to. Standard trio, full chord, rock chord, country duet 1, country 2, country trio, block, 4-way clause 1, 4-way clause 2, 4-way clause 3, 4-way clause 4, 4-way clause open 1, open 2, open 3, 1 and 5, octave, strum, multi-sign. There's no organ in the planet that has any of these choices. And then all you do is once you turn it on, it'll default to whatever you chose. So this is just turns the harmony on or off. When it turns orange, it's working. When it's not lit, it's not working. So if I chose full chord, when I push that and I'm playing a single note on the right hand, I'm going to get a full chord. And there's more categories. Right now we're working on harmony. There's echo, there's arpeggios up and down, there's all kinds of stuff. So let's just stay with the harmony for now. And then some people were asking about the sustain levels. Every sustain on this keyboard can be adjusted. So, for example, if I'm on piano, I'm going to put the piano sound on. I go to piano, piano. There is a sustain to the right of the keyboard right next to the harmony button. It says sustain. So we follow the same explanation. We hit direct access. I push the sustain, and now it tells me that the panel sustain for the piano is set to 116. You notice that bar. I can either do my finger, or once it's lit, then that data button, that's that round circular button, big. If I move it to the left, it gets lower. If I move it to the right, it gets more. So now if I turn the sustain on, I have sustain on my piano. Beautiful. If I want less, then I make that number less. So you're in charge of that. The weird thing about the keyboard is that depending what voice you're working, I can have the piano at 127, but then I could go to sound number 2 and pick a harp, for example. Let's pick a harp sound here. That will be under percussion. Yeah, mellow harp, okay? So now if I add sustain to that harp, I can make it all the way to 127. So now the harp. If you go back to the piano, then the piano will set up at a different sustain level. So it's up to whatever you want to do as far as how much of it you want. 127 is the maximum. And with harps and piano, unless you're using a damper pedal, the damper pedals are switch that I have at the bottom, and some of you use for changing presets. Depending, you can have more than one, but right now I have it set to sustain. So if I push it down and I play a key, it will give me sustain on that sound. But some of you that don't know how to use this pedal, then you can just rely on adding sustain to the sound. So I just add the sustain to it, and I have a beautiful sustain on the harp. Beautiful. So what you'll find, and it's very exciting that every week I get to do this for you. Unless I'm out of town or traveling, I prefer, not that rubber's not any good, rubber's great, but I play with this a lot more than he does. He has to work for a living. I work for a living in other ways, and I spend a lot of time learning how to use the product. And then lastly, we'll talk about the play along files. The play along files are great, even if you don't play. And what I suggest before you start doing that is to power off the keyboard and start from scratch. So I'm going to lose the microphone for a minute. Let me see the direct access. It says panel reset. Let me see what that does. This is convenient for restoring sound where there's no sound, restoring various settings, creating new settings. So, okay. So I'll hit reset. And I didn't lose the microphone. And it went back to all normal, Gary. That's a new thing. So in case anything goes south in the future, you can just hit direct access. And instead of pushing anything else, to the left of the screen, you'll see it says panel reset. So I just push that, and it wants me to confirm it. Do you want to execute panel reset, question mark? And then with my finger, I hit reset. There we go. So remember, the play along files are fantastic. The play along files are fun things that will help you with becoming a better rhythmical player. And you got to stay with it. If you make mistakes, it doesn't move forward. And then you have to identify which one of the songs are your MIDI files. So we can go to song A. And if you notice at the very top to the left, it says audio. I don't want to be there. So I hit exit and I go to song B. And song B says MIDI. And this is where you're going to see follow me songs. So with my finger, I just activate that and then pick a song you want to try. Let's try something simple. They're all easy. Let's do Edelweiss. So I hit Edelweiss. And if you notice to the left of the keyboard, there's a blue light where it says song B. And it's waiting. And the moment you push it, it brings up the score on the screen. Now, if you need the letters in order to, because you don't know how to read music, there's that little staff with a note in it. So what we do is we push that with our fingers and we tell it to add the note. So the note is highlighted, and now inside the letterhead, there is a little letter that says E. So now if you're asking, well, why isn't it playing? It's waiting for me to play that note. So let's do this play along of Edelweiss. Here we go. And take it from me as a teacher, even you may think that that's absolutely dumb. It's not dumb at all. It really is inspirational. And because you don't have to be too good at it, the Dance with the Sugar Plum Fairy, that would be a fun one. Dance with the Sugar Plum. Then I hit the play button. Then it's waiting for me. So here's, if the notes are too little, you can also change them to extra large. Right now it says large, so I use the little forward button to extra large, and I want the notes in there, so I hit notes. I don't necessarily care about the chords, but if you want to see the chord, you can highlight the chords too. So now hit play, waiting for me. Here we go. I know that was long and extended, but I made a mistake. I don't know if you noticed that, and it took the time for me to wait till I play the right notes. When I read music, I can't use these glasses. These are for far, so I have to take my glasses off so I can see the screen. But I'm telling you, follow my advice. Those are amazing. And what happens, it teaches you to read better and also to play in time because you got to stay with that ball. And some are long and some are easy, some are difficult. Just pick one and then make that part of your daily practice. It's a lot of fun. They're all built into the keyboard itself. And I promise you, if you can play all of them, you will be a much better player than you are now. And just trust me on that. Try not to say, "Oh, that's kind of dumb." It's not dumb at all. I wish we had that technology in every product out there. As a matter of fact, that's how my kids learn to play. And the reason Marco is so good, my oldest one, he got a great training in what they call ear training and then also timing training because you have to stay with what the notes said, a 16, a dotted, a triplet, and if you know the song, you can just play it that way. So I wonder if we have any questions. I don't see too much of a chat, but we're doing okay. I I want to keep this exciting every time we get together, but I also want to make it so it's not overwhelming. And today we'll recap. We talked about the mixer, how important the mixer is, and even if you don't know what you're doing, I've gave you enough tricks now. You can just hold the sound or the style, and it turns pink, or purple, whatever color you want to call it, and then just play a chord and listen to that, and then make adjustments. Same with the reverb. Then the sustain, the direct access button. That's a thing that I think every product in the planet should have. If you don't know what something does, like the bender, for example, people don't even know. I want to change the pitch instead of half half a tone. I want a whole tone. Well, if you don't know how to get to that bender, you're not never going to find it. So if you do that, the direct access, and you just simply, maneuver that bender, it's going to give you in the screen. Well, what do you want to do with that? So it's a really, really nice short way to get to different areas of the keyboard without having to look it up in the owner's manual or go to the menu and try to figure out where the things are. And then the harmony, that was big today. Again, direct access, and then I push the harmony button, and you get to pick from the harmony title, because there's more than that. We're going to talk about that in the future. There's echo, there's arpeggios that just stay with harmony, and then there's all that list that you saw. Once you make a selection, then the light has to be turned on. We also talked about the sustain levels. So if I hit direct access again, and I hit the sustain button, then it takes me to the area of the sustain where I can make adjustments. So, and then lastly was the song. The songs are all MIDI files that exist inside this Fletcher Music version of it. So when you do that and you access song B and you open up that folder called Follow, I believe it's called Follow Me Songs. Let me see. Yeah, Follow Me Songs. And there's a bunch of them. There's actually 49 of them in there. And they go, like I said, the Autumn Leaves is the one that we always show because that's probably the easiest one to play. But the other ones, they're not so easy. And then remember, it always waits for you. So if you're waiting for your music, and if you're playing the note, make sure that you're playing the E where it's supposed to be written. And if you're in the right key, make sure that the key signature is not supposed to be E flat. If it's not working, it's not the keyboard, it's you. You're doing something wrong. You're not playing the right note. So every week, well, that's my plan. And then Gary, we found a way that we can incorporate on the recordings now those separate screens at the same time, and we record them locally, and then I just send that to Robert, because Zoom doesn't allow us to do multiple, what we call spotlighting. So if I go look at my recording and we do more than two things, it doesn't work, and then you don't see it on the recording. So that defeats the purpose of using that. So this thing that I did today was a great technology that I found online that allows me to plug in a different computer, and then Gary can share with you that second screen that's from the meeting. And so now if you see me talking, and then Gary can add that second screen to the what's happening right now. Go ahead, Gary. So we'll have the main screen, this screen, and then just add the Geno screen. So this is what happened when you get the recording at home. Then you'll get to see exactly what I'm manipulating on the screen while I'm pushing the buttons. And the reason this is important, because if you don't see me what I'm doing here, you see the screen. You have no idea of how to get to that. So I hit song B, and I want to follow me songs, and then I hit follow me songs, and then there's the list. Page 1, page 2, page 3, Fanfare for the Common Man, Love Me Tender, Moonglow, Impossible Dream, Game of Thrones, Moon River, Perfect, My Romance, River Flows In, You Sending the Clowns Over the Rainbow. I mean, there's so much fun to play, I'm telling you. It's like playing along with someone else that they're perfect at what they do. And then right now, Gary's just showing to the screen and then back to me. So it's really awesome. So, and it's another thing that requires more work, but I'm more than willing to do so. That way we can all learn better. So let me look at the chats here. I would like that arrangement, Jerry. Yeah. Yeah, what we'll do is, and you have to understand, I have to be very careful. I spend hours and hours working on stuff, and I don't mind sharing it, but I can't take this to the levels that we do the classes where we make a specific score, and then we have the notes in it. So you'll get the music, you'll get the presets, you'll get the recording, but you're gonna have to be able to read the music without the letters. So if you're one of those, I'll always share them with you of no cost. I don't care doing that. I don't mind. But what we cannot do is spend 7 hours trying to make a score that a beginner could actually play, and that's way above what I'm willing to do. But anything that I play for you, they'll be shared for free, and then basically that you have to have this keyboard, obviously, and then you can just download the file, got the music, and then follow the presets. So Gary, can you share real quick with you, and I'm not putting you on the spot. So here's a version that we're gonna finish today called the Christmas song, and this is what Gary does.
You
So
looking at the score, you mean?
yeah, just share it for that screen so they can
Sure.
see.
Hang on a sec.
So this is what it looks like almost at the final project. We're gonna get together afterwards and finish it. But then you'll see that it tells you what the presets go. It tells you what to do. He scores out the music. Here it comes.
It's coming.
Yeah, I know it's coming. So this is what we use to write the program. So that's the Carol of the Bells that I played last week.
Yeah. Oh, did you want the other one too?
Yeah,
Christmas?
do the because this one's scary.
Okay, here's
Yeah, the
Christmas song.
Christmas song, and then what I played is depicting the music. If you notice on preset 2, then I have this little run with the trumpet, and that's what the music's gonna look like. So if you get it, you can do it yourself. You can add the notes to it, but this is the arrangement that you'll get. The part on the right, you won't see any of that.
Yeah.
Just the music itself, and then preset 3. Then we keep going down the road, and you'll see preset 4 and preset 5, and then it says end number 1, stop, preset number 6. So there's all kinds. Everything's exactly the way I played it for class. It's exactly the way that we write this course. And then you'll have access to that score. You'll have access to the presets, and in some cases, sometimes a recording on an audio file. And have at it. Let's enjoy it. So
Marco, I'm gonna have to add one thing. Um, I'm not sure of the attendance of who is, but it's not going to be easy to share this to members of the non-paid class, if you know what I
right,
mean.
right,
Unless we invent some whole new way, but otherwise, it's really only available to paid members.
yeah. So that what Gary's saying that the people that are involved in the Zoom classes on Monday, it's hard for me to divide what I give and I don't give, and then I don't even know how to present it so we can have access to people that are in this class or have access to people that are on the Monday class. So people, when they pay that monthly charge for the month, then if I do anything extra, they're entitled to all of that. So you can always purchase it down the road, but you be careful because this is how I make a living. This is how I eat. This is how I support my children, and I'm sure you understand all of that. So, but anything that I have available, if you text me or something, we can work something out. But it's always attached to the folder of the month that people purchased for that month. So, anyway, so I hope you had a great Christmas. I certainly did. I went to see my son play, so that was like a gift. And I sat there and I was blown away. And I know this is part of not of the meeting, but I want to tell you, I was so proud of him. He put all the arrangements together. He was called a music conductor, but he conducts. The way they do it now is different. He wears a headphone with a microphone, and he talks to the musicians, and we don't hear it in the audience. And he says, next song, such a key, such tempo, and then he starts the song, and there's no movement. He's playing the piano, but he's talking to all these people, and the guitar player, the soprano, the vocalist, the drummer. And so I said, what are you talking to? So I could see he was talking, and I wasn't singing. So then afterward, he took me and showed me, like, man. So I told him 1,000 times how proud I was in him. He never once says thanks. So I'm sure he respects my opinion. I was very, very impressed. So next week we're gonna move forward a little bit more every time we meet, but let's keep it so it's so you can achieve it. I don't want it to become so that every week we do something, you're totally frustrated with it. And then we can retouch on certain things, but let's just do really small spots and you'll eventually it all figure it out. It looks complicated, but if you understand, that's another thing about this keyboard. It teaches you how to be a great musician. You start understanding the computer lingo based in music, you know, the harmony, the arpeggios, the uh, key signatures, time signature, all of those. It's such a wonderful thing. And then I don't mind that you learn how to do it as long as it's applications based on the greatest hobby that we have is making music. So thank you so much. Give us a few hours to come up with the recording, and then Robert, I'll send it to him, and he'll post it on that thing. And I know people are watching it. So I hope you enjoyed the class. It was a privilege being here with you today. And have a great rest of the day. And we'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thanks, Marco.
Take care, guys.